The ultimate guide to living in Syracuse in 2025. Let's get to it. Listen guys, one of the first things you gotta understand is the affordability of living here is like none other. With the median cost of living in everywhere else in the country being around $400,000, here in Syracuse, it's only hovering around $175,000. Now what this means for you, it means that you get the affordability factor of actually having property. Let's go. But this isn't to say that we haven't reached appreciation or that our properties aren't growing. Compared to just last year alone, we've seen a 5% increase in home values, meaning that when you do buy a house, especially here in Syracuse, you will have that appreciation factor that so many people are looking for. We had a client of ours, Jenna, reach out to us and she said, listen, I'm moving here from, South Dakota. The cost of living here is actually getting a little bit higher. What would you recommend? We ran through the options and we saw what exists here in Syracuse. She was blown away. It's not just in these bigger markets that people have, less options, it's everywhere. So when people are making that move to even smaller markets or less costing markets like Syracuse, they absolutely love the affordability factor. But with that being said, obviously take every single thing into account. Neighborhoods like Sagamore, Fairmount, even Jamesville-DeWitt, and even Casanova are definitely more on the expensive end. So whenever you're deciding to make that move anywhere, take into account all the factors that go into it. Because obviously when you're thinking about making that big decision, the affordability factor will 1000% go into play. And the other caveat is everything else that we're going to talk about today is a part of just that. You see, when you're looking at places like Jamesville-DeWitt, the cost of living there is going to be a little bit higher, but that's also because the schools are some of the best ranked in the entire state. And if you want a school that's a little bit smaller, maybe look at Westhill School District as well. There's a ton of different options, specifically when it comes to number one, the affordability factor, and also number two, when it comes to the schooling factor of living here in Syracuse. The other thing too, especially with a lot of people that are looking to make that move here continuously, it's going to be important when you have children and you have to take into cost the cost of a child. Because you want to make sure that you're not just living paycheck to paycheck, that you've actually got the affordability aspect of it completely taken care of. And what's super duper nice is there's tons of first-time homebuyer programs that are prevalent in the market. So when you are looking for, obviously, to have that kind of down payment assistance program, we've got that taken care of. In fact, I saw this stat today. I'm going to put it right here so you can see it. But 80% of people that are looking to purchase a property, they could qualify for a down payment program, but only 13% do. Why is this the case? I think number one, it's because of a lack of education. Number two, I think it's because of a lack of education from your agent, meaning that they just don't know this exists. And number three, it's just that all of these programs have a specific quantity limit. Meaning for you, you have to make sure that when you are thinking about even qualifying or even putting yourself in there, you might or might not actually qualify for the program. So all these things obviously have to be taken into account. You see, one of the biggest projects that's shaping Syracuse now as we know it isn't the Micron project, it's actually the Viaduct project at I-81. This is a $2.25 billion project that's gonna reshape the heart of the city as we know it, connecting downtown Syracuse and South Side, and also driving up property value alongside it as well. One of the things that makes me super duper excited is a lot of the people that are coming here, they get pretty renowned and shocked when they hear about all the cool things that are actively happening in Syracuse. One of the biggest things, especially now, is so many tech companies and so many projects are continuously being developed here in Syracuse that it's an amazing thing to see. A lot of our clients, especially when they're looking to make that move, they're usually here for tech. So when they hear about things like the Viaduct project, or they hear about more and more local insights, they always love it. Quotes from Ryan McMahon, who's the Onondaga County executive, says this project is more about than just roads. It's about equity, opportunity, and growth. We're building a better Syracuse for generations to come. And I absolutely love this. And I think this project as a whole is something I can make an entirely separate video on. And if you want me to, I will. But I love the fact that we've got more and more rejuvenization projects here, especially for the future. You're probably like, hey, why are you even bringing up these topics? Well, because when you're thinking about making that move to Syracuse, you want to 1000% know every single thing that's happening here. And we're going to discuss neighborhoods, we're going to discuss tech opportunities and jobs, we're going to discuss things of recreation and what actually exists for you to do. I want to make sure that we're covering all these as well. The third thing that I want to talk to you about is the employment opportunity that exists. Because as we talked about before, technology is 1000% growing, and some of the biggest projects here in Syracuse are as following. Number one is the Micron project, which is a $100 billion investment in a semiconductor plant in Clay, New York, which is about 15 minutes away from Syracuse. This is going to bring around 50,000 jobs temporarily and 9,000 permanent jobs. Now, this project is expected to complete in 2029, but they've already started renovations and started things around it to make it actually happen. With the CHIPS Acts and things like that are absolutely bringing this to light, I'm excited to see where exactly it hits. And this is a really, really amazing thing for you. When you're thinking about making that move to Syracuse, you're probably wondering, well, if I buy something, will it appreciate in value? 1000% it will, because of the fact that we've got projects like this. And what's even more awesome is the fact that it's not just one specific industry, our healthcare is also booming. St. Joseph's Health and also Upstate Medical University are offering major competitive salaries and continuously revamping themselves. But education, right? Well, Syracuse University isn't just a school, it's an economic driver. From the football games and the basketball games, to the law programs and everything else in between, we are 1000% seeing Syracuse University playing its role to actively drive more people here. And one of the things that I personally really love about this is we had a client of ours that actually lived in Syracuse, John, and John said this: my daughter is going to Syracuse University and she's going to work in Syracuse. And I love that statement. Why? Because it shows that all of the things that are happening in a circular motion, and all the projects and all these things are ultimately leading for one final outcome. For Syracuse to stay Syracuse, and for Syracuse to become and continuously prosper and grow. And I think that is the biggest separating factor compared to most other major cities. And if you are thinking about a career opportunity and you're just simply wondering what specifically exists, there's three major fields that I think you should absolutely know about. Number one is technology. Startups are sprouting all across the board, and also there's more and more tech hub initiatives in New York State as a whole. The second thing is going to be trade and construction. With infrastructure projects booming, skilled trade laborers are 1000% in demand. What's crazy is plumbers and electricians, because it's not a glamorous job, or so people say, the trade as a whole is kind of dying off. And now, because of the supply and demand factor of it, people can charge whatever they want to charge, which I say go for it. We just need more people that are working in those fields. And finally is professional services. Things like finances, legal services, and ITs are demanded here in Syracuse. Why? Because so many of these companies are actively looking to hire, especially as they actively grow. Now, what about neighborhoods, and where specifically should you live? I'm not here to say live here. I'm also not here to say live there. What I am here to say is, with the clients that we help and the people that we service, there's definitely a few specific neighborhoods that we've seen them gravitate towards, and that's all I want to regurgitate. If you are a young professional and you've got families, maybe Eastwood would be a fantastic option for you. Why? Well, affordability factor is 1000% there, with homes starting under $200,000, with walkable streets, and with also local businesses that are all around. Eastwood's nickname is Village Within the City, combining both a local charm and also an urban vibe to it as well. With a mixture of historic homes, starter homes, it's one of Syracuse's most budget-friendly neighborhoods, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all. From a housing design perspective, what you're going to see is a lot of early 20th century homes, including craftsman's bungalows, colonial revivals, and charming duplexes as a whole. Especially if you're looking to buy your first property, a duplex might be the move. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is the home prices hover around $180,000 to $200,000, and the affordability aspect of it is like none other. Some things to check out and some things to absolutely go to. My assistant had created this list and we're double checking it. Is first and foremost is the Palace Theater, a historic theater offering movies, concerts, and events, making it one of the most favorite places for locals. The second, and I gotta talk about pizza, it's my thing, right? Is in terms of one of the best pizzas, you've gotta go to Angelo's. It's like, there's no competition. The third thing is actual green spaces. People don't know this, but Syracuse has a ton of natural green spaces, and I think it's one of the biggest separating factors compared to most other places. One of the things that I would specifically look at is Sunnycrest Park. It offers trails, ice skating, and sport fields alike, making it so that you've got options to do whatever you're looking to do. Next, I would look at Sedgwick Farms. Sedgwick Farms has a ton of 20th century mansions. Yep, you heard me right, mansions. From neighborhoods that exude character, charm, and finesse. I think it's one of the most beautiful neighborhoods, especially if you've got that job security factor and you know what specifically you're looking to do. It's got towering trees, and it's beautifully, meticulously taken care of lawn. Well, people just care about the area, and people care about the appearance factor of the area, and I think that is what makes it so amazing. The homes and the design of these homes are usually Tudor-style mansions. They're colonials, and they're also Victorian estates. They've got really beautiful exteriors and interiors, and I'm going to show some pictures from Zillow here so you can kind of see what specifically they're looking like. From a cost standpoint, usually they're going to hover anywhere from $350,000 to maybe $700,000, depending on the qualifications, the restorations, and every kind of amenity that exists within that house. For the price point, I don't think you're gonna get this anywhere else. Let me tell you, we've got one of the best places here, and Sedgwick Farms definitely takes the cake when it comes to value for things and amenities as a whole. In terms of things to do, from the Sedgwick Farm tours of homes, it draws visitors that can actually see the architecture, and I think that's what makes it so amazing. The Everson Museum and the Landmark Theater are absolutely amazing, and we are seeing more and more people gravitate towards these areas because of the amenities and because of the location as a whole. Then finally, take a look at Fayetteville. We talked about Fayetteville being one of the highest ranked school districts in the entire state of New York, but that's not all. From a home ownership perspective, it has a thriving economy, luxurious homes, and it has just a perfect balance of quiet suburban life and also a proximity to Syracuse as a whole. From a how much does this cost standpoint, we're looking anywhere from around $400,000 to around $1.2 million, with custom-built modern estates to elegant colonial homes alike. There's always something for someone depending on what specifically you're looking for. Areas like Springside Drive offer that gated community vibe that everyone is looking for. And also in terms of amenities, it's kind of like none other. There's so many things to do that it's absolutely amazing. Specifically, you've got hiking, golfing, and stunning turquoise lake as a whole. There's also a Trader Joe's next to the town center, and in terms of schooling, we keep talking about this. Fayetteville and Manlius school is one of the highest ranked schools in the entire state. Yeah, pretty crazy when you think about it. Now, if you're looking to combine, we've obviously got Fayetteville as well, but combining with that, you've also got Manlius too. Now, this area is going to be a little bit more on the expensive side compared to Fayetteville, but it's not that much more expensive. With custom-built homes as well, two colonials that exist, the home prices you can kind of see hover around $500,000 to about $1.5 million. And this isn't even the most expensive area in all of Syracuse. If you want me to go show that, just put that in the comments below, and I promise to get that going. But with the Hamlet to Mallard's Landing, there is always, well, kind of a high amenity vibe to those things and to those places. This is a really unique location simply for the fact that you're getting a really amazing school for not that much of a price. And I think that's why more and more people are actively gravitating here. From golf courses to pizzas and everything else in between, there's always something to do for everyone, and I think that's what makes it so unique. All right, cool. Now let's talk about the lifestyle factor of it. Syracuse is a all four seasons kind of area, for better or for worse. We've always got something to do every single time during the year. When you're looking to, well, go out maybe for winter, we've got Songs Mountain, or if you're looking to ice skate, we've got Clinton Square. If you're in the summer and you're just trying to cool off a little bit, we've got Onondaga Lake Park, and also we got a proximity to the Adirondacks like none other. And a place that a lot of people are always going just to cool off and have a relaxing vibe. From the Everson's Museum of Art to the Landmark Theater, there's always something for everyone. And I think that's what makes it so unique. Now, we touched on schools just a little bit, but I want to get a little bit more in depth with what specifically exists. First and foremost is Fayetteville. One of the big things with Fayetteville is understanding that a lot of the schools here are some of the best ranked schools in the entire state of New York. And I keep bringing this up because it's super important. One of the things that you want to talk about, and why specifically this stands out, is it's known for its rigorous courses, its AP initiatives, and impressive graduation rate as a whole. The graduation rate is 97%, with SAT scores of 1,300% and a student-to-teacher ratio of 11 to 1. There's debate teams, sports teams, and extracurricular programs that exist as a whole. So when you want something cheap, well, cheaper and more affordable as living, and also a really fantastic school, you know you've got this in the back. The second one, I've got friends of mine that actually go to Jamesville-DeWitt, or that went to Jamesville-DeWitt, and they had a really good time there. Not only because they had a fantastic schooling, but they also had a really strong sense of community and camaraderie that simply didn't exist anywhere else. Jamesville-DeWitt right now has a 95% graduation rate, and it's constantly receiving A+ ratings for college readiness and graduation rates. It has a 1280 average SAT score and a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. From theater programs, to varsity debates, to, well, varsity soccer, and award-winning musical ensembles, it makes JD such a really, really good school. But there's also another one in Cuse that I want to talk about that a lot of people, well, kind of I don't want to say misread, but they don't know about in terms of exists. And that's going to be Westhill Central School District. One of the biggest things about Westhill is it's got a massive, massive opportunity with a small town vibe. You see, we have currently a 96% graduation rate and a 13-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. Right now, it's ranked as a top district in central New York and emphasizes on specifically STEM programs. It's got cutting-edge scientific labs. It's got robotic teams and coding initiatives. Its community pride, starting with the PTA and everything else, is like none other. It was something really insane for me to see. A lot of these schools that we're talking about, they're unique because, well, it seems like it's not just the schools that matter, but it's the people that live in the schools that matter. I think that's what makes it such a separating factor compared to most other major places. We really do have that sense of community. From the Winterfest that exists to the State Fair to everything else in between, Syracuse is continuously growing. So the ultimate question that we have to ask, is Syracuse the right fit for you? Well, the answer is yes and no. If you're looking for more of an area in which it's cheaper cost of living, we have a lot of growth opportunities, and a place that a lot of people are actively moving to, then 1000%. If you want something that's already established and already ready to go, then we're probably not there quite yet. A lot of these projects that we've got developing and going on, they're going to take some time to churn and to develop. And obviously that's going to take it's going to take its course. So with that being said, I want you to answer the question for yourself, is Syracuse the right fit for you? And also, Syracuse has a lot of really, really cool things that are developing in 2025, and I made that video right here. Watch it. Talk to you soon. Bye.